Hello, everybody! Welcome back to our Arc 6 live recorded sessions. We're reading chapter 69, nice, and 70 today. We have a smaller cast, so it's going to be a bit faster. We sent Common to bed because she's super sleepy and was coming in to help cover for Betty. So we sent Common to bed. Good night! This is Colorized by Setowi, but this is one of the light novel illustrations. Isn't it cute? So we have Shaula here. We got a lot going on today. Still no podcast. We're taking our little bit of a break. I gotta catch up with Arc 7. Yada yada. We have some stuff coming up. Lust If is still being written by Gold. And we're gonna check in with that in a little bit. We'll keep you posted when that arrives. But we are still making progress. What else? Do we have any more announcements? I have some shorts coming out soon that clip back to arcs 1 to 4 chapter reads that one of our lovely viewers in the community has made. I believe they still are going by Miku on here. So I'm going to take Miku's shorts that they made, combined with my editing. They'll be out very, very soon. Without further ado, let's introduce our cast that's here today. I'm going to turn on their volume. And you guys are live.
Hello!
Hello! Oh my god!
Hello!
I am so glad that worked out.
That
You guys
timing was funny.
always do that shit. Like, every single time I'm terrified of what's going to happen.
One of these days, I'm going to slip something in at the perfect timing, and it's going to be hilarious and get clipped.
Oh my god. Oh.
Oh, sorry, Chase. I forgot you're attached to me. Thank you for your silence.
I couldn't defend myself.
What were they saying?
No worries.
We were
no
just
worries.
talking to him and then making fun of the fact that he couldn't respond
Damn.
while you had him muted.
Damn. Well,
Welcome,
anyways.
everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Let's introduce who's here today from top to bottom.
Hi, I'm Connor, one of the hosts of the ReZero podcast. When we are able to get back to it, it should be pretty soon. And the voice of Rom, Julius, and others to come.
Yay!
Greeny here, one of the editors of Studio Reverie, and today I am going to actually read. I'm gonna try to do my best, y'all.
You're actually going to read the web novel this time? Good for you.
Oh my god. Okay.
You lined him up for that, Greenie.
You
I
really did.
hate that for you.
I'm too used to it though. All my friends do it anyway, so I don't feel anything.
Rough.
I'm the auto of every group, so I'm used to it.
Well, today you're Reed. Good job. I'm Kyle's. I don't know where I am. I'm gonna be your Amelia, Shaula, no Anastasia today, and narrator. You guys want more of me, I guess. I'm just gonna crash out again on this chapter.
No, wait, now I need to search up.
I'm not as sick today, so I'm gonna crash out less. Wolf's turn.
Hello, everyone. Wolf here. Sleepy Wolf here. I am your Subaru. I'm also a co-host of the ReZero podcast, and today you will be graced by my beautiful Beatrice voice for like 3 lines.
Betty, I suppose. It's just like when you first started out reading
Yeah,
Arc
it's all
5
coming
with
full
Hollow.
circle. Back when I used to actually voice Betty, where it's just me and Hollow.
Beowulf, in fact.
Wild.
That's fucking.
My voice cracked. Oh, you might. Oh, huh.
Ooh, sorry. We're gonna mute. Sorry.
What?
All right. Did you guys still hear the bzzz sound?
I didn't hear the business sound at all.
Oh,
It was probably.
I heard it on my end. It was fucking loud. Thank you, Chase.
Okay, chill. Okay, chill.
I don't know what happened, but I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
No,
That wire
you're
is
good.
old. It like if you tap it slightly, it just goes.
I didn't even touch it. I think maybe I moved my hand around the air of it too quickly and something happened there. But...
Yeah. Maybe. I need to move this mic so I stop breathing into it. Apologies for that. I'm not. I'm trying to get used to this new mic. Holy shit!
Oh my god.
One, thank you, G-Man, by the way, for your donation. And thank you, Lil G, for this donation as well. That's so lovely. Thank you. I need to keep track. I am behind on a few from the other stream as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you. I don't know how much was in the last one, but the last Saturday we went up 31.
Yes, I
from where
added
we
that.
Have it. Okay, it may have reverted then, because I remember thinking it was supposed to get up to 804 the last time I was here.
Yes, it did. Okay, hold on. Okay, I'll fix that in between chapters. Thank you,
But
Caught Up with the Live
genuinely-
Readings.
And congratulations on making it all the way caught up. I remember being impressed when I did that when there was only 7 chapters available. Doing it at 68 plus a whole arc. Good on you, Lil G. Good on you. And welcome. This is the fun part. You get to listen to us bants and delay picking up the next chapter until we've all gotten water and gone to the bathroom twice.
Yay!
Lucky for me, I have water next to me.
Good.
Can't
I'm gonna
believe
need it.
Connor clocked us like that. That's not okay.
Just because I run to
Yeah.
the washroom while you guys are speaking does not mean you need to be rude like that. Okay?
I sneak
hold
out
my
between
pee.
my lines during the chapter.
I do that too
You're a
sometimes.
brave warrior. I could never do that.
I control F my next line and like, okay, at the rate they're going, I have 11 minutes before I speak again. I'm totally fine.
Oh, I do something similar too, because I was editing one of the chapters and I was just kind of like, all right, this is my line. I have to remember this line right here, so that way I can quickly backtrack.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I have too many lines.
Yeah, I don't think I can do the same trick again. So
Are you guys ready for chapter 69?
Oh, yeah.
ready as it can ever be.
Now I totally regret not going through the chapter and proofreading it more. I was so thrilled I wasn't going to narrate.
I touched up the most egregious parts I found, but there's still, some.
Thank
There's
you.
maybe all
Did
I know
you
is
just
that
up the font?
Shut up. I'm blind. Shut up.
I knew I saw.
I
I knew I saw
struggled
something.
last. My screen's at 200. I'm sitting far away. I need to use my finger. I cannot read digitally. I can only read on paper.
Okay.
Don't at me. I'm doing so good considering I'm struggling over here.
The page count, it rose.
Oh my god, it
Oh.
did. No.
Yeah, no, we're getting rid of that because 22 pages. Why'd you give me this one? No, I'm putting it back up. 26 from 22 is nothing. Okay, you ready, mofo's?
Ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That does not sound ready.
Why do
I
we
was
do
born
this?
ready.
Why do we
There we go.
Do this.
I miss
I'm
KLB.
ready, yeah, pricks.
You prick.
Yeah, prick.
Yeah, prick.
All right. Arc 6, Chapter 69. The Absurd Iron Hammer of the Sword. Gulping down those words he had heard, he required several seconds to chew their implication.
Reed is Roy of Odd.
The report betraying his expectations, Subaru's thoughts were disturbed in a way quite unlike the suffering he had taken over. The pain and suffering he had arbitrarily taken from his comrades, due to that negativity, his mind was working slowly. But this was a situation where even that could not be utilized as an excuse. Taking some time for the moment, with his brain seemingly melting out of his ears, he found these thoughts to be endless. In front of him, boldly stood the majestic figure on whom this revelation had been made, the red-haired swordman, unmistakably the existence who was the biggest nuisance in the Pleiades Watchtower, Reed Estrella. While staring at him, Subaru murmured. Julius, who had readied his knight's sword at his side, his expression possessed no signs of falsehood whilst he focused his eyes on Reed. He was not a person with the personality to make such unfunny jokes at this gambling house, where lives were on the line in the first place. That was a commentary on Julius by Subaru, who had once forgotten everything, and therefore the situation was quite dire. Because he possessed that conviction, Julius's remarks remained uncertain.
If Reed is gluttony, Then that means...
Reed was one of the obstacles that existed in the Watchtower. However, his position when it came to the end of an ally or enemy was ambiguous. But if this existence were to explicitly be one of those that were distinctly the enemies, then...
So that's why you were again, so persistently after me.
Oi, just wait, ya prick. That's a pretty boring misunderstanding, you know. It ain't a joke, ya prick. Oi, ya prick. Ya prick. Ya prick. Saying that I'm taking the form of that unrelated idiot. Don't go boldin' trusting that boring conclusion, ya prick.
Hearing Subaru's trembling voice, Reed distorted his cheeks with seemingly painful displeasure. Subaru was unable to comprehend the meaning of that reaction. The Sin Archbishop of Gluttony, Roy Alfard, was manifesting in the form of Reed. Subaru, who had just previously seen the transformation of Louis Arneb, had reached that extremely proper conclusion. The authority of Gluttony, which extorted the shape and form of combat power of the opponent, and its result was Reed before them. However, Reed's mood turned undeniably worse at that conclusion. The cause of what seemed to be, rather than the behavior of a coward hiding his true identity without knowing when to give, something much simpler like the displeasure of a child upon being teased. The real meaning of that was...
Ain't it obvious that it'd be me? Because that'll never change. I'm standing right here. Do ya disagree? Ya prick? Ya saying I'm wrong?
Touching the eye patch on his left eye while baring his sharp fangs, Reed declared so towards Subaru. Faced with that, Subaru inhaled and furrowed his eyebrows, reading deeply into his words. And noticing a certain possibility, he took a short breath.
It can't be... Julius?
Likely what you are imagining is correct.
While maintaining his line of sight on Reed, Julius lowered his head straight upon Subaru's hoarse voice. The good-looking man rubbed his cheeks, stained by his own blood on his shoulder, and, while erasing that blood stain...
My wording from earlier was off. Let me correct it. The flesh body before us belongs to Roy Alfard. However, the mind within it is different.
Mind?
Roy Alfard ate the memories of Reed Estrella and had the control over his own mind stolen by those memories. Henceforth freed of all restrictions, he descended from the second floor and made his presence here.
Subaru found himself dumbfounded in response to Julius affirming the absurd possibility he had conceived. Subaru wondered how something like that was even possible. No, each and every one, aside from Subaru, Amelia, Beatrice, and even Ram, all of them widened their eyes together. Certainly everything in Julius's explanation was logical. Originally, as an examiner of the Pleiades Watchtower, Reed Estrella was not supposed to be able to leave the second floor, but he had started wandering about in the tower, making an expression as if he owned the whole place. In the world Subaru had been made to witness repeatedly, amidst a bedlam which brought to the end of the tower, he himself had not been able to attain freedom. Rather, he had taken advantage of Gluttony's actions and acquired freedom. Indeed, that was it. With that, all the baffling situations surrounding Reed made sense. However, he was unable to shut his hanging jaw, for he exceeds his norms far too much.
Got dragged alone by the memories and lost sight of his true self. That would be what it means, I suppose.
Simply put, it must mean that the one with the stronger ego won and remained. In terms of self-principles, one chased away the other.
Though a bit late compared to Subaru, Beatrice and Ram arrived at the same conclusion. An unstructured way of speaking, but Ram's words expressed the truth with frankness.
But I have a doubt, too.
That was why the Eaton Reed's existence had not disappeared from everyone's memories. Till now, the ones who had fallen victim to gluttonies, aside from Subaru, Rem, and Julius, had their existences erased from the memories of all people, was how it seemed. Truth was, in the previous loop, the existence of Amelia disappearing from the memories of Ram and the rest was something Subaru could attest to. If so, then the same thing not happening to Reed would mean.
In principle, what Gluttony has eaten is not Reed's name, but, at most, his memories. It is not possible to eat both the names and memories of a dead person. That is what Roy Alphard asserted.
Did you witness the scene of Reed getting eaten?
Sensing Subaru's doubt, Julius responded with a single eye open. He answered with a short, yes, looking at the crumbled wall he himself had passed through.
When I went to the second floor in accordance with your instructions, you see. Timely enough, that was when Roy Alphard and Reed were having negotiations. Negotiation, to label it as that would be dubious in itself, though.
What's dubious about that?
Because Reed was making no effort for resistance. Perhaps Gluttony, for some reason, was not made subject to the examination. That was why he, the examiner, was unable to attack the opponent.
Ya prick. That's about half correct and half incorrect.
Upon Julius stating that conjecture, none other than Reed called a halt to it. While cracking his thick neck bones, he had his nails touch the pit of his stomach.
Sure, no way they were gonna be participants in the examination, but if I'd wanted them to do then they would've, you know? Though if I did that, then I wouldn't be here right now, ain't it?
You have attained the opponent's ego. Are you saying that you already were certain that you could do so?
Copying someone else and focusing on only the strong parts, something I won't allow. Placing everything your side's got and gambling it all's what's interesting. Though that was something that Midget didn't understand.
Regardless of the truth of him having obtained that physical body, whatever may have been the interests of Gluttony, the one affected by that sequence of events, Reed spoke of Roy, who had confronted with a terrible indifference. But the fact remained that the reality in front of their eyes was the truth. The ego of Roy Alphard had been painted out by the monster known as Reed Estrella.
If you wanna eat and taste me, then you gotta have a strong stomach. A stomach large enough to fit me in. He didn't have that. That's why I bit and tore apart the stomach. That's all there is to it.
That's all there is to it, you say?
Aside from his bearing nausea, the sense of abrasion of his mind and body, Subaru felt his head starting to hurt. In other words, if what happened in Reed's body was to be straightforwardly, then...
Revived? Resurrected from the dead? Is that what this is about?
In terms of results, you could say that. Above all, a situation in which it is possible to meddle with the memories of a dead person, and an existence wielding that very ability happening to come across it for the first. This setup is a series of events akin to a miracle.
Miracle?
A life who was supposed to have vanished 400 years ago, to witness the moment of it being resurrected like this, could be said to the ironic manifestation of a miracle, regardless of Julius's intent to call it such. That was not to speak of the fact that resurrection itself... Can I ask one thing?
On?
Abruptly, once all of the happenings were arranged into order, the one to raise her voice like that was Amelia. Ever since the encounter with Reed, Amelia had kept her mouth shut so the topic of discussion may not get diverted. Seeing the discussion reach a point where it could halt, she turned her amethyst eyes towards Reed and... You, Reed, has been revived, right? With that, you become able to leave that place? That's something I really congratulate you for.
Ah, thanks. With this, I can teach you all sorts of stuff at a proper place, smoking hottie. Let's have drinks tonight, ya twat. Aside from that. Oi, we'll do stuff as I teach you.
Huh? Are you inviting me to go out with you? But I've only got to go on one date with Puck and Subaru. Sorry. Also, though it would make for an exchange Subaru would never want to miss out on. Jumping on by Amelia's comment on her date was something Subaru currently had no leisure for. With Subaru keeping those innermost thoughts for some other occasion, Amelia repositioned his body, which she was carrying on her shoulders. Even though you're free, can't you stop being in our way? In case you don't know, we're really busy right now.
Don't ya make me say it, smoking hottie. I more or less have got a grasp on what's happening here. After all, the tiny brat that had this body was unusually well informed. I hate it. I really don't like it.
As if throwing up, Reed annoyingly gripped to his guts. It seemed as though it was not a mere resurrection. Reed also had the ability to read the memories of Roy Alfard. In other words, he apparently even had the power to catch a glimpse of the part of the authority of gluttony. Above all, it seemed as if something he aesthetically found strongly was also terribly repulsive.
He didn't have a standpoint of his own. That's why he got himself involved in such stupid shit. He's an irredeemable kid. Though he ended up disappearing cause he was doing it without knowing his position. It's gotta be a natural reward.
Why talk about this place and nothing else? If you're free, then how about you just go conquer the world and the vast oceans? I pretty much feel like you're just delaying the problem. If that's the case.
Ya prick, don't ya ready yourself to run away? A situation like the one you're in where you're being carried on the shoulders of a woman, it's so pathetic I'd be better to die. Do you wanna be coated with embarrassment?
Subaru's venture to avoid battle, having the situation ameliorate, ended in failure. Perhaps even the rest of Subaru's group may have failed to understand what he had proposed just as well in the end. In the end, even if Reed were to gain freedom, he intended to respect his role as the examiner. Otherwise, not being particular about his title of the examiner, he simply would allow for the opponent whom he decided to cross swords with to escape. That was perhaps something like the pride as a warrior, whatever it was. I see. If you won't move aside, then there's no choice. With a side congested with nuance of it being unfortunate, the reply sufficiently suggested Amelia's decision to attack Reed. I'm sorry. Those words were directed not at Reed, whom she was confronting, but at Subaru atop her shoulders. And he was a second late for noticing that. Because after a single second, Subaru's body had been brought down from Amelia's shoulders and gently handed over to Beatrice beside them. In an instant, crossing the aisle with the speeds of a bullet, Amelia slammed an ice sword into Reed. The atmosphere gave a rise to a high-pitched sound, yielding forth frost and a beautiful yet cruel blade of ice to flutter through the aisle, enshrouded in the eruption of smoke. In any case, that attack aimed for a fatal wound with no hesitation whatsoever. Once Amelia had decided to act as such, there was no faulting her then. That was something clearly understood after all the battles till now. Yeah! For Subaru, that slash attack was one Subaru could barely follow his eyes with. A strike which almost like an ambush, yet Reed easily took with the use of his arms, having pulled it out of the breast pocket of his casual dress, his hand holding the chopsticks. This was not the first time he was seeing Reed wield chopstick as a special weapon. However, it was not something which he could get used to, even after seeing it on multiple occasions. Abnormalities were abnormalities. There lay no charge in that recognition.
Amelia, John! Subaru! Don't push yourself, in fact. Stay put, I suppose.
Subaru shouted at Reed's abnormal swordsmanship, feeling perturbed about Amelia's safety. Appealing to Subaru to take care of himself was Beatrice, whom Amelia had suddenly forgone and entrusted his body to. Being supported by her petite frame while kneeling down onto the aisle, Subaru pushed his eyes open. Meanwhile, Amelia renewed her armaments, Amelia renewed her weapons, which had been smashed, or rather slashed by the chopsticks, and continued the performance with her sword dance like a fairy within sparkling diamond dust. Easily brushing that away, Reed laughed with a ha like a shark. Greenie.
Ah, just as expected. You got it quickly, smoking hottie. But, ya twat, don't ya know? Your examination's already over.
If that's so, then pass everyone else too.
Oi, the hell kind of reasoning makes you say that, eh? I ain't got any reason to be doing that.
I request you.
There ain't anything cute in begging like that. For now, take off your clothes, ya twat.
Though she had been making a serious expression, Amelia's entreaty fell on Reed's deaf ears. Identical to how he had done that with the first strike, Reed brushed aside, parried away the subsequent strikes using vivid techniques of chopsticks. Barely conceivable. Subaru was unable to close his mouth hanging open before the abnormal swordsmanship. Of course, Reed's irrefutable mastery was something unknown to him. However, even Amelia, who had not drawn even a step back against the enemies of the likes of Gluttony and the gigantic Scorpion, had shown an overwhelming capacity when compared to such a variety of warriors. At the very least, even 100 Subarus would not be able to oppose Amelia. For Reed, that was quite literally a child's play. Amelia's offense and defense, in which she put... I am so sorry, this grammar is getting me so bad. Coming back.
Pick up if you want.
No, it's okay, I got it. Amelia's offense and defense, in which she defended for death, was not but the play of an unskilled child for Reed. Subsequently, Amelia, after a mere few exchanges, would be defeated, pierced by those chopsticks. The difference in their abilities was so immense that even untrained eyes could identify that. However,
The reason to abstain from using full force? That should be quite simple.
I think he did, we couldn't hear. Huh?
Han?
Because you will face an unsightly defeat here at the hands of Rom and the others.
Her petite frame interrupting the battlefield, so Ram pronounced position behind Reed and caught a hold of the back of Reed's. That alone was more than worthy of admiring, but that was at the end of Ram's fearsomeness. Amelia attacked without any relent against the opponent, Reed Estrella. Ram had matched her timing with Amelia, who left her battle style upon her senses with godly intuition. Precisely this, which Subaru had not been able to read at all, was Amelia's initial surprise attack. Movements that suggested the question whether he had really managed to read them, and truth was, they were movements which gave the impression of possibly already having gotten read. This very next instant, Ram unleashed fists stabbed into the side of Reed's casual dress. At the moment of impact, with the sound of flesh and bones creaking, Ram's white fist's piercing strength penetrated through Reed's internal organs. At the soles of Reed's Zori, the aisle was split open, the man still standing his ground.
It reached through.
Looking at that, Subaru thoughtlessly hugged Beatrice tightly. He wanted to cheer, but he was unable to voice anything further. Instead of that, he felt his body heat up as if blood was boiling. Because that was, as far as Subaru knew, the first time Reed had taken damage without it even being a matter of super luck. Powerful fists that could not be imagined as being fired from her slender arms were hammered into Reed as if a storm. Reed received with unguarded lower body and retreated. It was not as if he lacked any defense. He merely could not direct defenses there, even for blocking Ram's attack, as his 2 chopsticks were being used to block Amelia's fierce attack. Henceforth, pressured by the might of her tremendous fisting, Reed's body was pushed far to the back, and while his figure was being blown away, Amelia I'm so sorry.
It's fine. We're going to have to redo the chapter regardless.
Oh, don't you worry. I'll redo this whole thing. I'm so sorry, everyone. I'm losing my mind. I struggle with this proofread chapter.
No, you're good. Oh my god.
Yeah. Okay. From the top. And while his figure was being blown away, Amelia threw the twin sword she had created with both of her hands. The sword slashes drawing an arc, which was then dispelled by blows from Reed's chopsticks. Subsequently, he collapsed onto the aisle, lying spread eagle.
Did they do it?
Seeing the form of Reed collapse, lying flat on the aisle, Subaru lightly whispered in astonishment with widened eyes. Blocking Amelia's surprise attack had been a final desperate tactic of his. The rest of Ram's attacks was what he had gotten a taste of. Each and every blow had wielded enough power to make his bones creak. Amelia's strenuous fighting was a matter of course, but perhaps misjudging Ram's combat power had been the cause of Reed's defeat. As an effective Corleones, having been able to move without any hindrances, Ram's ability had been enough to read the consciousness out of her opponent Reed before he could get serious.
Right now! You can quickly tie him down and render him unable to battle! Amelia-chan! Constrict him with ice!
For a moment his thoughts had come to a halt, unsure of their victory. But he was unable to overlook that extremely valuable situation. Panicking, Subaru instructed Amelia to restrain Reed. At the same pace, he tried to call out to Ram, who had been making strenuous efforts.
Subaru, when did your health come back? Huh?
Suddenly, Beatrice, who had been supporting his body, Beatrice asked while supporting his body. Receiving that doubt, Subaru tardily came to notice the fact that he was standing on his legs, giving instructions to Amelia. The agony which had been eating into him as of a curse had disappeared. The moment immediately after he judged its significance, Ram's body shivered, trembling violently. Her upper body, her back turned towards the side he was at, jolted, and she collapsed to her knees, unable to support her body.
Ram!
Unable to even stretch out her hand, Ram collapsed like a puppet, whose threads had been severed. The one to jump at Ram's collapsed body was Julius, who had been awaiting for a gap for him to plunge into the fray. Supporting Ram's wholly exhausted body, Julius confirmed her condition, his expression freezing over. The reason for that was Ram's complexion, the vermilion of thick blood which dyed her clothes. Copious amounts of blood were flowing from the wound in Ram's abdomen, its bleeding previously staunched by herself. Though it was true that the loss of blood brought serious danger to her life, that alone was not the issue. The greatest problem was linked to the betterment of Subaru's condition. In other words,
The effect of Corleones has been cut off.
Ah, so it finally got cut, eh? Ya prick. Don't ya be doing boring shit. Aren't ya just hiding behind a woman? You're a disgrace of a small fry, ya prick.
in front of Subaru, who had been rendered speechless, the collapsed Reed swung and stationed both his feet. Standing up with vigor, Reed took light pats at his hips, swept his back, then swung his arms in circles from his shoulders whilst gripping onto the chopsticks. His attitude, which felt as if he had not taken any of the damage Ram had inflicted on him, though that alone made his body shudder. What made Subaru uneasy were his words immediately afterwards. Reed had said that I got cut. Just what on earth was he referring to?
Playing around like that'll always be boring. First of all, something like feeling pain, no pain or ache, even when your guts are all torn up. Are ya making fun of me with that, ya prick? If you say you want to do it with perfection, then you gotta stand with you receive too. But this one's done for, ya prick. This one's done for, ya know? Ya prick. Can't ya see? This woman was gonna die even before it got cut.
Intimidated by Reed's low-pitched words, Subaru turned his line of sight towards Ram, who was in Julius's arms. Receiving that gaze, Julius lowered his chin slightly.
His words are correct. Miss Rom's wounds are no trivial matter. Even now she's on the verge of death. The reason why the bleeding hasn't stopped. Perhaps because of the usage of a chemical which hinders the clotting of blood. Aside from that, present on her body must be the recoil of her pushing herself so hard.
Okay.
Each and every word of Julius... Sorry, I couldn't find the part. Because he changed... I was trying to adjust your volume, sorry. Each and every word of Julius's analysis attempted to carve a painful fissure into Subaru's chest. He had failed. Subaru's Corleones overlapped with complacent failure. Taking over Ram's inferior physical form, he had created a circumstance under which she could not fight. She could fight. Though that was not mistaken judgment. He had ignored the injuries she had taken. No, having Ram herself ignore those was what had been the mistake. If Subaru was able to take over the pain and anguish of injuries, she would not be able to be conscious of the wound's seriousness. If Ram were to conduct herself in a way suggesting she was unarmed, neither Amelia nor anyone else would come to notice anything.
A magic for sharing sensations similar to Nect. Something a bit different from that, but perhaps not entirely unlike. Something quite unlike it has been put to use. And you said to cut it.
I'm good at cutting invisible stuff, you see. Well, the trick's intuition. Took me quite a bit of time for that. Took a pretty grand hit.
Reed exaggerated the reason he'd bathed in Ram's storm-like fists. However, returning to the original topic, the truth was that he could more or less not feel any of the damage he had taken. The trick behind that, too, was pronounced from Julius's mouth. Whilst keeping Ram in his embrace, Julius gently turned his gaze backwards, towards the aisle which had been fissured by the close combat.
You had all of Miss Rom's attacks redirected onto the floor with the bottom of your feet, didn't you?
It's a technique a woman friend of mine, Trisha, used to be good at, you see.
Reed laughed with a caca as he firmly stomped his Zori down the aisle. Hearing the conversation of the two, Subaru, while continuing to shiver, glanced at the crevices in the aisle. The endless wounds borne onto the aisle were proof of Reed having directed Ram's attack onto the corridor. It was perhaps some technique to direct the impact of the blows towards someplace else. It could be said that the accumulation of martial arts. And in fact, when Ram's initial blow had stabbed into him, Subaru too had witnessed the aisle tremendously fissure with his own eyes. Same applied to all the subsequent consecutive strikes. Both this and that, everything was...
severing the connection between me and Rom in the first place. How did that even...
I just told ya, I slash down what I wanna slash down, live where I wanna live, and sleep with women I wanna sleep with. I slashed down that boring game, all while humming.
So did Reed declare without a care. Cutting things which could not be seen, alternatively, cutting connections which did not exist materially. Was the capability of doing so the true ability of the existence named the Sword Saint? But when I struck you from above with a lot of strength, you were in pain.
Back then, the situation was different, ya know, smoking hottie. Right now, I'm here to enjoy the fighting more than during the examination. If it's a fight, then you gotta be more serious than in the examination, ya know? Do you disagree, ya twat?
Slashing and repelling away Amelia's response, Reed snorted his nose and prepared his chopsticks. Adjusting the stance of his chopsticks as if he were commencing a meal, as one usually would, and pointing their ends towards Julius, Reed's blue eyes gleamed with a blaze.
That's how it is. You got what I'm saying, eh, ya prick? Ya prick. Hey, ya prick.
To settle this with the sword. That is your intention, correct?
Yeah, that's right. Let me tell ya, I'll allow any damn thing aside from swords too, ya know? Whether you wanna throw magic at me or clash with me, it ain't a problem. If you wanna win against me...
Quite boldly, Reed gestured with a finger touching his chest and pointing towards his heart. In other words, that was the only way to bring an end to his life. That was his expression indicated. That was to say, that it was evidence that the fixture Subaru had designated had been correct.
Why must you obsess over myself?
Ah? I'm obsessed over ya? Give me a break. Bastards of just mere words with nice faces are the race I hate the most. Ain't that so? On top of that, why'd I gotta be obsessed?
Then
You're the one who'd have a reason to obsess over me. If I draw back from here, do you really think that'd be fine?
Reed's response to Julius's questions could not be described as one that was clear. He himself belonged to a race of those types who did not see worth in conveying all things as words. Furthermore, a large part of his response had been occupied by something similar to sensation. It was difficult to comprehend. However, understanding the answer was a group limited to.
A troublesome one ended up coming here.
Before that answer could be digested, what preceded was Reed clicking his tongue in discontent. And the cause of the click of his tongue revealed its figure from the interior of the aisle Subaru and the others had come from. No, it pounced on them in the form of a corona. Subaru! Immediately before the white luster could evaporate Subaru, Amelia's ice sword separated the distance from the two from each other. As a note of shattering ice echoed and repelled light zipped through the aisle, an extremely long tail stinger appeared, as if having become frayed. That was namely the baptism of the guardian of the sage's tower.
Shaula.
Red compound eyes emerged from the depths of the hall, possessing multiple legs. The gigantic scorpion revealed its form. Jet black shell and fiendishly large pincers. Its figure was both ominous and healthy. However, the form of Lai, who had been left behind in battle of the gigantic scorpion, was nowhere around it. Although the gigantic scorpion had no traces of blood on itself, had he faced defeat at the hands of the gigantic scorpion and been left behind, then it was all good, but...
Reed and Shaula at the same time.
Subaru.
Caught between the two formidable enemies, in the midst of the situation where they could not take any inadvertent action, Beatrice called out to Subaru with a trembling voice. Looking back towards Beatrice, he noticed her pale expression. Beatrice's expression was painted with horror, wrenching his heart. Somehow or the other, Subaru searched for words in an attempt to clear away the unrest in her heart.
Beatrice, it's all right. At any rate, we haven't managed to find a plan yet. But it's all right. Recovery is still...
That's not it, I suppose. That's not it, in fact! It's coming, I suppose!
It's... coming?
As he heard Beatrice's objection, who had widened her eyes, her expression altered. He glanced at the gigantic scorpion once again. Reed was here, and Shaula was on the other side. This was the very meaning of that threat. In a situation where terrifying beings had gathered, what was going to come now?
It can't be!
I just told ya, didn't I? That a troublesome one ended up coming here.
As if affirming the thought which had passed by Subaru's mind, Reed so asserted. That tone of speaking was serious, as if it were having trouble digesting the situation. The subsequent instant, an impact reached their feet in the form of a perilous earthquake, jolting the Pleiades Watchtower. Without exaggeration, when Subaru felt the impact reach his body, for him, heaven and earth were overturned. Subaru was blown off without even the use of a technique. Within Subaru's field of vision, the residents of the fantasy world were each displaying astonishing movements. Mid-air, Amelia kicked the foothold she had created with ice and repelled the needles fired by the gigantic scorpion's stingers consecutively, seemingly advancing towards her comrades. No, towards Subaru. In the world which was tilting diagonally, Julius seemingly dashed atop a wall and closed in on Reed, commencing Amelia with a thrust of his knight's sword again against the elite swordsman. And Beatrice jumped towards Subaru, who had tightly held onto Ram and kept her close to himself.
Mirach!
The moment she chanted that, Subaru felt himself be enveloped by a feeling of suspension different from what wrought the impact. Released from the yokes of gravity, the feeling was as if he had been thrown into a world without gravity. The effect was not as little as simply having the flipping of heaven and earth restored for him. Each one was acting at their very respective best with whatever they could muster. As if sneering in those best of actions, multitudinous volumes of the jet-black shadow swallowed the tower in its entirety. Dreadful pressure echoed, and the watchtower, which boasted strength enough to make it difficult to believe it was mere stone, was wholly crushed. That was a tyranny of the shadow, which was not originally supposed to possess mass. The arrival of the impact, which could no longer be named a single destructive happening, but rather something closer to a natural disaster, easily swallowed, digested, even those who possessed abilities extraordinary enough to be called superhumans, even in this world. Going up against a gigantic scorpion, making free use of magic and her physical abilities, and putting up a brave fight, Amelia stood fighting. Swinging the knight's sword and charging towards the legend entertained by himself, Julius fought as well. Protecting Subaru and using magic with her small body, Beatrice fought as well. In the juncture where they twinkled a glow, the stretching shadow intertwined and they turned invisible. Without sound, without reverberation, the forms of Amelia and the others vanished. What name should be given to what had occurred to their bodies in a matter of an instant? Subaru was unable to find any pertinent words within himself. Merely there existed something he could say without doubt.
I have failed.
I love you. At the same time he accepted reality, he was whispered words of dusky love. Whilst being whispered into his ears, or otherwise, whilst kissing him, or while embracing his entire body, or caressing his soul, frighteningly direct were those words with the soul of love. He immediately understood the greatest problem amongst the 5 obstacles. The shadow which swallowed everything had arrived. Whether it was possible to deal with it at all, even that notion alone was questionable. That was his 3rd time seeing that shadow, and each time he encountered it, Subaru's life had been lost. This time is no exception, now that the shadow had arrived and made its entrance.
Ya prick! The hell are ya doing thinking about sleeping, oi?
At that moment, the jet-black shadow which enveloped Subaru had mowed down by a flash that had been swung.
You've got to be joking.
Widen your eyes and see what's the joke, ya prick. Ya prick, are your eyes open? Open your eyes and take a good look, ya prick. What's the joke about me?
Saying that whilst casually swinging a knight's sword and having slashed away the shadow was Reed. He wielded in his hands not chopsticks, but a knight's sword, which belonged to Julius, and exhaled through his nose. It was truly ironic that the sword which had lost its owner was displaying more ability in the hands of a sword saint than those of the owner. But there is no time present to be having such thoughts, because Subaru, who had been standing upright, had his torso kicked by Reed's Zori. Inside the narrow aisle, his suspended body was unable to hit even the ceiling or the walls. The structure of the Watchtower had already been destroyed, and he was no longer able to determine where the ceiling was or where the walls were. What was present in Subaru's environs was the endlessly black sky, an endlessly black floor, an endlessly black world. Anything and everything became incomprehensible. No, within his arms there was warmth moving minutely. The warm body of the unconscious, fainted ram asserted her existence. At this moment, when anything and everything was being painted black, by giving up on comprehending the situation, was Subaru not simply entrusting his body to the end? In front of this life trying his best to survive at this moment, that was unforgivable.
Still something.
Though the situation was in this state, there must still be something he could attain. Till now, Subaru had been swallowed by this jet-black evil influence and lost his life twice. However, those 2 occasions had been abrupt, and he must have had no time left to do this. What he had attained now was because Ram was asserting her fragile life, and because of the kick he had received from Reed, who was within the shadow much like Subaru, wearing a ferocious smile. Of course, he was not grateful for that. It hurt as if the pit of his stomach had been gorged out, and in the first place, the reason why he had not had enough time before the shadow swallowed the Watchtower was because of Reed's unnecessary interruption. Hence why.
You'll be crushed as well by the finest of knights I know of.
Ya prick there. Keep acting cool just like you are till the very end, Smurf.
Looking downwards, Reed set his aim on Subaru with a backhand grip on the knight's sword. There was a distance between them, but from Reed's perspective, a distance of a few meters might as well be non-existent. And below Reed, who had established Subaru as his enemy, the vivacious jet-black shadow yet continued advancing closer. Something like that was not even deemed to be anything by Reed's fighting spirit. Though he was unaware of it at this moment, Subaru may just be witnessing it. A long time ago, said to have happened 400 years ago, one act of the legend of the Witch and the Sword Saint. However, something like that was meager as the absurd destruction and violence that was to be called death which grew close to Subaru.
At least.
Even if just for a second longer, I want to stay alive. Enshrouded by that wish, Subaru tightly embraced Ram's body in his arms. The next moment, a torrent of light unbelievably stemming from a sword swallowed Subaru. Each time it is lost, each time it is redone, each time it is demanded, it keeps revolving. Again and again, over and over, piling up countless times what should have been a single final moment. Suddenly he had a thought. Perhaps having someone by his side at the very last moment is a kind of happiness. If not facing the end alone is what gives him strength to rise again, then, at the same time, he had another thought. Why is it that at those very last moments, the ones who stay beside him, Natsuki Subaru, can never manage to save them? Clouds of sand were rising up to extremely high skies, which were never supposed to reach. Pleiades Watchtower's balcony, several meters above the ground, underneath which were present to the advancing hordes of witch beasts, commencing with their assault to bring down the Watchtower. Holding them back with their own ability to control witch beasts with melee, making strenuous efforts. Julius was above, heading for Reed on the second floor, and Subaru and the others must make haste to dash to Amelia and Ram, who must be clashing with Lybat and Kaitos. Master, are you alright? In accordance with Subaru's summons, she tilted her neck, with her long black braids swaying about. As she pronounced that question, in her expression, her eyes, with sentiments such as those of impatience or irritation, could not be felt. Of course, no light of cunningness planning to deceive them could be perceived either. Whether that was her camouflage or her true intents, there was no definite answers of that. However, Master, are you listening? People aside from Master and me have seemed to gotten involved in some troublesome stuff. But is there something I can do for you, Master?
Yeah. That's right. Something you can do for me. Huh.
Yep. If it's Master's request, then I can energetically to boo into fire, into water, even the great waterfall. Energetically possessing no malice, that person, Shaula, said so while stretching her arms wide. Staring at that carefree smile, Subaru turned back and inhaled. He made his return to this moment. He had been made to return. There were no changes in what he was supposed to do. There existed people he must save, people he must defend. Therefore, without losing his way, in order to settle what he was supposed to do, Subaru undertook a necessary ceremony. That was...
Shaula, will you listen to anything I tell you to do?
Of course, duh! If it's Master's request, then I'll listen to anything! If Master's demand, then I'll even listen to something that may be a bit extreme. Could it be a Master finally reaches limit and holding back from my Domokoshita Irotai? That's why you kept all the others away. And that's why it's just the two of us now? Jeez, Master!
Shaula.
Wriggling with her cheeks sandwiched in her hands, Shaula blushed at Subaru's words. However, Subaru did not pay heed to such words of hers, and stared at her face with a serious face, and...
If I tell you to die, will you die?
And that's the end of that chapter. Oh
God.
boy. Chase, I'm coming over there. I'm looking at your mic. Where do you stand when you record?
Oh my God, I want
Especially when you
to.
whisper. You're gonna have to...
Oh, read.
Certainly a
Sorry,
character,
everybody.
isn't he?
So when you're doing...
Dude, one of those lines almost made me crash out if I wasn't like mentally prepared for that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Project a bit more.
Also, Beowulf.
No worries. You don't have to be upset.
One of those lines got me so much I almost cracked out laughing straight into the mic.
Same.
Sorry for that crackle pop.
Yeah, no, dude, that's kind of the line that made me want to be like, I'm dead inside. Oh, okay. Yeah, what a chapter, right?
Before I re-record that chapter, I will be going in and correcting every single piece of grammar.
I had a feeling that you were correcting it as you went.
For chapters like this, if it got to the point where just the narration was struggling the whole time, just mark them down and I'll go back and redo them. I can just go read the chapter.
It's just,
The part between the two line breaks, like near the end, was incomprehensible. It was one of the things I noted on like a first read through and had to go back and fix it. Like that is the fixed version.
Oh.
Okay. Well, I do appreciate the stuff you fixed, by the way. Don't get me wrong. We have a lot of stuff to do, so we don't have a lot of time to like do the extras. So I'm not... When people edit stuff for reading, it's very different from voice acting. So if you... I'm just not very casual about it. Now, I was also struggling too, because adjusting the audio this chapter was a little crazy. For some reason, Discord was just giving me extra trouble. So I do apologize for the my constant popping and loudness and quietness. We're doing as much as we can on our end while voice acting.
Yep, this is part of it being a live recording, not just a live read for the whole thing.
And not the final version.
Everything is just to make progress.
Big chapter, though! Yay!
It is. We found the mystery of Reed out, of how he's been coming down, that Roy has consumed his memories, which, if you recall from a few chapters back, is explained that Reed's existence in this tower is just his memories from his Book of the Dead, pulled out and turned into an examination instead.
Making him a unique existence.
A unique existence that Roy, in his inability to differentiate any aspect of a person, which is something that Louis was chastising him about. Like, he's, what is it, like disgusting eating or gross taste, bad taste, whatever it is.
Bizarre eating or whatever it is.
Bizarre eating, yeah. That he doesn't split anything up. Like, he would be the one that eats the core of the apple, the pig's feet, etc., etc.
He just
Doing that to Reed, big mistake, bud.
error on his part.
He has that's probably single-handedly ruined any chance of them at ever succeeding here. It certainly does, Chilled. It certainly does. I'm very suspicious of that.
Probably. I have a theory on that, but gotta reread a few things.
Like
Oh,
kidnapped.
Reed. Yeah.
Yeah. Echidna and Beatrice and Puck.
He really does like to say "ya prick" so many times.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
If I'm not mistaken, he's saying "you" like the way that Beatrice used to refer to Subaru, but that's just not a good way to put that in English because it's supposed to be insulting. That switching it to "you prick" and "you twat" is not a bad call.
No, it's not. It's unique to Reed. I'm just a little baffled that I saying "ya prick" for 4 times in the same sentence throws me off.
It can be a little off. I assume he's referring to different people sometimes in the same sentence. Like, one "you
Probably.
prick" is pointed at Julius, one "you prick" is pointed at Subaru.
And then "twat" goes to Amelia.
Yeah. Because she's the only one that, outside of Shaula, is, like, that he thinks looks like a woman. Other ones, he calls them other things.
Oh, well. Oh
It's
my God.
crazy that Reed can cut, like, conceptual stuff like Corleones.
Yeah. Broke the invisible binding.
Yeah. Also that he just could kind of sense and realize that that was what was going on.
Yeah, in a way, like, as well, him doing that was kind of an effort to save Rom's life.
Mm-hmm.
Bizarrely. Like, he could recognize that, oh, she's fighting without recognizing how badly her body is getting destroyed with each of these hits.
It's the danger of Corleones, because the reason pain exists is to tell your body when you need to stop or you will damage it.
Right. Like, if everyone remembers back in Season 2, Rom uses, like, one spell and 8 punches against Garfield,
And she's
lands, and then her forehead explodes in blood.
Yeah.
She can't do that very long.
This
And
is
Corleone-
also proof of how hard of a nerf the horn was.
Yeah, that Super has to be carried on Amelia's back the whole time.
Yeah. And when he is doing that to Rom, she is able to probably be one of the strongest in the group.
She punched through Reed's stomach, like, all the way through.
It's insane. Like, what?
It almost broke Kyle's to say it, but she was fisting him.
Yeah.
It was super effective.
It was. Actually, it wasn't. He was
Well, he's Reed. It doesn't matter if
reallocating
it's
all of the
super
force of
effective.
it into the hallway.
It's also just the most Reed thing ever to casually break so many rules about the series in such a short period of time.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's the effect of the Estrellas. They tend to be story
Literally
breakers.
larger than
Well,
life.
yeah, but that's only because of him.
Yeah.
He's the one that started that trend.
That's true.
He was just a guy that worked really hard and happened to be really good to start with. I assume. I did want to note that something kind of parallels is that Reed is referring to Satella here as the troublesome one, a troublesome girl, which is the exact same thing that I believe Sekhmet called Satella when she showed up in the Witch's Tea Party as well. Like, a troublesome girl has come to cause some trouble.
Yes.
It's another cool parallel from that, like, point of time. That maybe just the people who knew her, that she was just a troublesome girl. She just got into things.
We love a troublesome girl.
We do. When does the troublesome one enter the 100 girlfriends?
Oh.
Shaula entering stage. Could you imagine?
Yep.
exciting,
100%.
Master! I can't wait to do anything you want me to do.
Super ending the chapter with, if I asked you, would you kill yourself, is also wild.
That's the
Yeah.
one hell of a cliffhanger, especially the fact that it's Shaula's kind of going off on her own fantasies.
He's
which
like,
is-
if you come to sleep together, finally?
Finally!
I've been waiting for
Arrow
this for
tie?
centuries!
I know we're in the middle of a fight, but this is a perfect time for us to go off. Everyone's distracted.
Did the phonetic breakdown of the Japanese at the end help Kyle's?
Yes, thank you. I know I did it terribly wrong, but thank you for that, because I just would have been like, I just would have crashed out.
No, I was going to
Another
say,
crash.
because you said it perfectly, and I didn't
Oh.
know if writing
know
it
if I
out
got
like
the-
that helped or not.
Oh, sure did. If it's in Romaji as well, I can break it down. Well, I guess it is. I guess it is. The way you did it was fantastic. I guess I cannot say that when I cannot pronounce it when it is in Romaji.
Dokochita erotai.
Tarai.
All right, are we ready to move on to chapter 70?
Yes.
It's significantly shorter.
And we could up the font size again.
Yeah, I was about to say, do you
Okay.
want to start the font size again?
Fuck off! It's not my fault. I'm blind. It's not my fault.
Oh yeah,
Is this
it
the-
gets bigger.
Is this the Bully Kyle stream now?
Yes, it is. Fuck. Give me a whole chapter to read that's not fully grammatically beautiful.
I'm
Then
surprised.
make fun of me for my font size. Fuck you all. I'm not close enough to my fucking monitor.
Look,
not my
I was having an
fault.
existential crisis this week. I didn't have time to edit the chapters. I'm sorry.
That's fine. You have every
That
right.
w-
Happy birthday. to
No.
you.
Oh, that one
Can't
line
believe
of
she
read
just
almost
doxed
made
me
me
like
crash
that.
out.
I didn't say when it was. Didn't say how old you were.
That's true.
Get fucked, nerd. You can't just say you had an existential crisis and not go forward on it. Now there's
I
context,
can,
so now
because that
people won't
will-
bug you.
Now people won't comment and ask about it. You have lowered our engagement.
You're not content brain.
Everyone in chat blame Kyle's for dropping our engagement
Shut
right now.
up! No,
Make up the difference.
I drop our engagement because nothing is consistent on this fucking channel. Can you think I can get 100 people to give me their shit on time? No! I take the blame for it all! Look, it went up.
I work on
Fuck you.
I work in a professional environment, and I am not able to get 6 people to get their work in on time. No one is expecting you to get 100.
Yeah,
I'm
no one's
doing
gonna
it.
expect 100.
But
If
doing
you
it.
are expecting that at home, check yourself. Get a life.
Before you wreck yourself. Though we are doing pretty good with Arc 7 recordings. Yeah, every day since you have put out the fact that we should do just live recordings for Arcs 2 to 4, every day it just sounds so much more beautiful. We never have to go back and edit them.
No. And I could get an Arc 2. Compared to how fast I've gotten at fixing Arc 6 ones, I could get 2 Arc 2 or a few of them out much easier.
Yeah, and they're more fun.
They'd be shorter, mind you, but we
That's
could still
perfect.
do a few.
No, we need shorter. Please give us shorter!
I miss the shorter chapters.
We're
Back when it
going
was
in-
only 8 pages.
We're going
Yeah.
into the big boys. Big leagues.
I'm gonna hold you to that, Chase, when we get or darn it. I'll hold you to that, Wolf, when we have only Arc 2 Arc 2 Subaru
Who's
back.
doxing who
I'm gonna be
now?
so real. I kind of forget that people don't like their name used. So if you tell me your name in Reverie, you're kind of fucked. I will just interchangeably use that.
I also do not care that people know my name. It's a unique enough name that it just is what it is.
Your name is a verb.
I can't even.
Fuck.
For my name, no one can get it right for some god awful reason.
I won't
That makes
say
me-
it. I want to try it, but I'll try it after stream.
Yeah, no, it's not. Well, yeah, I'll mention it more later, but it is just baffling because sometimes some people will put letters that aren't even in my name, and I'd just be dumbfounded rather than annoyed.
I think I can definitely say your first name. Your last name will stump me. But I will
Mm.
try.
I doubt it. It's not.
I'm awful. I purposely don't remember my students' last names because there's just so many. I can't do it, but I know their first names very well. Last chapter for this phase now. Sure, Jay Dudley, let's go. Everyone ready? I've stalled enough. The people
I
wait.
was stalling
Wait, this
until we remembered to up the funding account, like we said we were doing between
Yep,
chapters.
Sorry, thank you.
Wait a minute. We're at the last of the phase? What? How'd
It should
this
be at-
happen?
Should be at 9:24 if we account for 2 weeks ago, or not 2 weeks, 2 streams ago, and today. I don't know how much we did last stream. Actually, could probably pull that up pretty quickly though.
I think it was like 24.
It should be in the chat if I open that up.
Oh, good. I want to say it's about 24. I'll set up the rest. La 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 la. I really wish this would work on its own so I wouldn't have to always do this. La la la. Have I tried to fix it? No.
Last stream had 20. So
Okay, perfect. So 9:34?
it is missing a total of 161 from where we started, which gets us to 9:44.
9:44. Hi. Oh, damn it, Unknown
Ooh.
Ranger.
9:49. Thank you, Unknown
Oh,
Ranger.
wait,
Thank
you
you,
know
Unknown
what?
Ranger. Sorry. Shoulda. Thank you. If you're all gonna make donos, do it now. Do it now before I fix it. That's such an odd way to say it. But thank you all. Oh my god, chilled. Fuck. 50.
Thank you, Chilled.
Just
Nice.
mess it up.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. I'm just terrible with math.
It's okay.
If Tealde was here, she would be donating
okay,
$1 to fix the number.
She certainly would. She's with us in spirit. 3,000. God fucking damn it. Thank you,
Thank you so
Mixcodal.
much.
We appreciate you so much. What's that now? 68?
Could you emphasize
No.
the pain in your
69.
voice?
Nice.
69.
Nice. No more. No more.
It's
969.
currently 969.
Damn
Oh,
it,
hey! Thank you so much, Green Warrior
Thank you,
291.
Green.
Reed was very funny last chapter.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, you said enough, and I just clicked send like right as you said it. I'm like, oh well, too late.
Connor's doing my math for me, so it's fine. I don't want to use my brain.
Oh, I wanted to do the funny. I wanted to
You
be,
did the freaking funny.
It's
Thank you, Greenie.
1019.
I pushed us to 1,000. Let it be known.
Woohoo!
Ideally, this is going to make it Arc 7 a lot prettier. We have so many characters that we need art for.
I'm currently working
And while
on
Kyle's is in her training arc for making pictures and such, but there's still a lot. We got work cut out for it.
If we could find an artist who will stick with us consistently for about, I don't know, what we estimate altogether with all the side characters, like maybe 80 characters.
Including the ones that will need new outfits because they are in disguise for Arc 7 and 8. It
Oh,
comes to 73 named characters.
Yeah. Yep.
Yippee.
Because I think we need 4 different Subarus.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, we need 4 Subarus minimum, at least in terms of outfits and designs and such.
Next thing I'm working on is expressions and coloring. Common,
Go back to bed.
Rest.
22.
1022.
I don't think he can. She can. I don't think Common can.
Not on Saturday, Max, for Arc 7. Oh, standby. Yes, on standby.
Yes. Like
Well,
drawings.
Mhm.
All right, we're gonna start going.
Works.
Anyone else add? I will add it later. Thank you all so much. You're all so lovely. You're in bed.
Are we ready? Are we
Okay.
ready now for
Yes.
the final phase chapter?
Yes, thank you,
Final
everyone.
chapter of the phase.
We're about
You
to
don't
enter
have-
our last phase.
Yes, one of the best phases in all of ReZero, starting next stream.
Yes.
Oh
It's
my!
so peak.
But I will give the finale everything it deserves, regardless. We all ready?
Go for it.
Yeah.
Ready as
Mhm.
always.
Arc 6, Chapter 70, The Earnest Star. Within the collapsing tower, basking in Reed's decapitating slash, Natsuki Super's life had been scorched away. Quite literally, scorching away had accurately been his moment of death. There were various things which he was pained by and which he needed to confirm, such as the way to cope with the shadow mass drawing near, or what he intended to do afterwards, and, above all, finding a foothold within the crumbling tower somewhere or the other. Yet all of those efforts had been abandoned. What alone was confirmed was that Reed's final flash had swallowed Subaru and vaporized him. That it had perhaps not hurt was what he thought. Of course, he did not believe it had been Reed's benevolence at all, but pain and fear not accompanying the moment of death was an unexpected occurrence for Subaru, who had died several times within a short frame of time. Indeed, neither had he felt pain nor fear. Merely rage was what he held.
I will.
For just how many times would he continue to pile up meaningless deaths? Things he had taken with him, hints that would break him out of the deadlock. As long as those were present, Subaru's deaths would not be meaningless, and the deaths he was continuing to pile up would not be put to waste. That was a terrible deceit. That was merely an excuse to turn his eyes away from his own powerlessness. He had died meaninglessly, powerlessly, without will, without heart, aimlessly, and he did not want to think that that was all there was to it. That is why, for not having merely died, he desired a meaning in his death. If only he could have been stronger. If only he could have been wiser. If only, instead of his current self, he could have been stronger, wiser, bolder.
But
The only one here was merely the weak, stupid, pathetic Natsuki Subaru. Because nobody ever tried to leave that Subaru alone. That was what was supporting his current self's wound-filled resolution.
for that reason, I.
For that reason, Natsuki Subaru.
If I tell you to die, will you die?
The moment he declared that, it was as if he felt no hesitation. That was because he was unable to know what kind of reaction to expect his opponent to give him the moment she received that question. No, he knew what to expect. Having imagined various patterns, he had thought of what it would eventually be. If so, then in regards to the faltering he had embraced while declaring that question, for what reason did he possess that indecision? Regardless.
If the master tells me to die, then I'll die, you know?
He felt his chest ache upon Shaula's indifferent response, who had a finger touching her cheek. As if he were being stabbed to the point it would form cracks. Painfully, he let out a shriek within the core of his chest. Oozily, upon the painful optical illusion, Subaru gripped the pit of his stomach and deeply exhaled. Though he himself had voiced out those wounding words just now, he thought himself comical for feeling hurt. Looking at Subaru's state, Shaula rounded her eyes in curiosity. Devoid of ill intent, Shaula's attitude seemed as if she had been asked about the menu for today's evening meal, and merely responded appropriately. That reaction of hers was the second worst in the patterns he had predicted. With no pretense, Shaula was selecting the option of accepting the instruction for her to abandon her life. That was no lie, no joke. That was her actual intention, with no second thoughts. He was able to understand that by a single glance into her straightforward eyes. Subsequently, having caught a glimpse into her dark self-interest or plans would have possibly saved Subaru's heart. However, the reality was that Subaru had not prepared for such an escape route. Whether that was compassion or mercilessness, at this stage he would not be able to even differentiate between the two. But
Is that so?
Master, do you want me to die? Well, if that's a Master's request, then I'll listen to anything. I'm perfectly fine with it personally. But again, isn't it quite weird timing for such a thought? Right now it's a total fiasco inside the tower.
I know.
Hearing Subaru's raspy reply, Shaula tilted her neck while having her finger remain on her cheek. Going along with that movement of her neck, her long braid, her scorpion tail, swayed about. Scorpion tail. If one considered it, that was quite an ironic naming, too. Similar to Shaula, a term meaning Scorpius, her name was expressed even upon her body. That was made apparent not merely through her name, but through various other aspects of hers as well. That was surely because she had no intention of concealing it. Hence, why?
Shaula, aren't you capable of taking the form of a large scorpion?
Lacking any sluggish phrasing, Subaru threw a straight ball regarding his opponent's secret. The 5 obstacles that would attack Pleiades' Watchtower. One of those was the existence of the jet-black Titanic Scorpion. Subaru had been halfway convinced that it had been Shaula. However, for Subaru, that answer he had sensed was merely his interpretation of the feeling he got from the powerful authority of unidentified nature. Cor Leonis. If he were to try and gain confirmation for that answer he had sensed, inquiring the opponent directly would be the fastest option. Of course, if he had time to, then he might have chosen a different option as well, and if he had been unable to trust his opponent's response, he might have been obligated to employ a different method. However, Shaula kept her neck tilted at the inquiry of Subaru's.
Take the form of? The nuance is a bit different from that. But yep, I can. But it damages my Utashuki to size, so I don't really like it too much. I just think that the design given to me by Mother and Master is the best.
In spite of the question being one lacking any chain of logic, Shaula readily answered with no hesitation, yet again. She possessed no intentions of hiding anything. In the nature of Shaula herself, it could be said that it had been established with this proof. At the same time, the Titanic Scorpion which had made its appearance in the tower, its true identity was her. He had now gained that confirmation. That was exactly the reason why, at the time Corleonis' effect had perceived the positions of his comrades within the tower, its mechanism had caused the Titanic Scorpion to be indicated in that perception.
Master, are you okay? Your face is a pretty bad color, you know. Would you like to hide it yourself with a lap pillow, or an arm pillow, or a chest pillow, me as a body pillow, or something like that?
Don't say things which dampen my spirits. First of all, we don't have such time. You yourself said that, didn't you?
It's true that it's fiasco inside the tower. But for me, Master's on top of the priority list. Everything else can be kept for later. That's why, if Master slips into confusion and says he wants to get on the floor with a wrestling match with me, I'd welcome it with super open arms. I'm getting fired up!
Don't get fired up. Get some water.
Just as always. Jeez, Master.
Sharpening her lips, Shaula made a pouting face. If his back and forth with her, along with her expression, were to be taken into consideration alone, it could be misunderstood that the situation that had cropped up around Subaru and the others was seemingly one of peace. However, reality was not kind to Subaru and the others at all. It was the farthest thing from peace. While Subaru and Shaula leisurely conversed like this, Amelia and Rom were making efforts to hold off gluttony, and Beatrice had joined them for support. Julius was colliding with Royd on the second floor. Echidna had grouped with Patrichet and was likely evacuating to Dagetta along with Rem. And finally, Melee was holding off the hordes of witch beasts. That was the very best they could do against the 5 obstacles. However, even that was merely deceit for the sake of conversing with Shaula. Because, within these loops, Natsuki Subaru...
Master? Are you alright? If you stare at me with such imposing eyes, I won't be able to hold back this 400-year-old weight I've experienced, you know?
At Subaru's gaze staring at her, Shaula hugged her slender figure with her arms. It seemed to be the usual feign, but that wasn't it. She truly was in a situation where she was feeling unease because of Subaru's attitude. It was unlike her. No, that was wrong. Perhaps these were her true feelings. She had not felt shaken even when Subaru had told her to die, but when Subaru acted abnormally, her fragile heart had been rocked, almost astonishingly, akin to a baby bird yearning for its parents. At the time he had fired his first question at Shaula, Subaru had several possibilities within him. Among those, the worst one was that the instant she would get struck by those heartless words from Subaru, Shaula would murder him impulsively, just like that. That was the case in which her attitude until now had merely been acting, and anything and everything had been fabricated. It was not impossible. Though he had possessed no confirmation before that question, she had a track record of having changed into the form of the Titanic Scorpion, then murdering Subaru, Echidna, and Beatrice. Otherwise, it was highly possible that she'd take a hand in that after turning into the Titanic Scorpion, and the tragedies that had come to pass in the loops in which Subaru had been unable to find even a single person alive. That was why the first question had been a gamble for Subaru as well. Once he said that, the instant immediately afterwards Shaula had digested that question, it would not have been strange if Subaru's head had been evaporated. That was the sort of gamble it had been. He could now say that he had won. However, gambles never ended at just one. The debt Subaru had unconsciously piled up, the stakes prepared by gluttony in the Pleiades Watchtower, in order to regain whatever he had lost until now, piling up such little victories would be far too lacking. For a huge victory, it was a necessity to make a huge gamble. Therefore...
Shaula, sorry for having so many questions, but I want to ask something. From what I've heard, there are supposed to be some rules for the examinations of the Pleiades Watchtower. Is that right?
You asked that now at a time when I'm getting all hot? Well, yes, there are. I talked about it before to Master. Crash his head through the urinal too, though.
Tell me about them.
Without hiding her sulking attitude, Shaula gently positioned her fingers opposite to her chest, and she immediately swayed about her positioned fingers, whispering,
First, it is forbidden to leave without completing the examinations. Second, it is forbidden to violate the rules of the examination. Third, it's forbidden to disrespect the libraries. Fourth, it's forbidden to do anything which causes destruction to the tower itself. Yeah.
Whilst keeping her fingers folded, Shaula explained with an awfully fluent tone. Of course, she was a girl proficient in speaking if she were to limit her thoughtless comments, and nothing felt odd in her explanation, which was lacking any pauses. Though nothing felt odd, there was a catch to it. That went for the serious tone of her voice, which was unlike her. At but the end of her gesture of counting with fingers, she had touched her final finger and then stopped there.
The fifth one?
It doesn't exist. Master, didn't you hear me? I said up to 4. Master, can't you even count numbers now? That won't do. Numbers aren't my strong point either, but even I can count that much.
Shaula.
Staring, Subaru raised his voice and took a single step, shortening the distance between him and Shaula. Those two had been facing each other head-on before, but the distance between them now was enough that one could extend their hands and grasp to the other. Even that action was a gamble for Subaru. Of course, just because the difference between them was only the breadth of a single arm, just because he had shortened the distance between them to that of only a single arm, the difference in fighting power between him and her was not so small that it would change anything.
Master, could it be that you're toying with my heart? Master getting closer to me because he wants to, and not because I want to? Master wants me to open my mouth? That's it, isn't it? Hey, following up on that with the same energy. Hug me and melt me?
If your mouth really will open by that, then I'll do it. That can even be said to be a side benefit. But if what you believe is my purpose based on your intuition turns out wrong, then I don't think that'll happen. Shaula, I'll ask again. What's the fifth rule of the tower?
While accepting Shaula's mild refusal, Subaru questioned her for a second time. That was an action not of inching closer to her physically, but instead of stepping onto her heart. Those repeated words, although perhaps bitter, were something she could not make it seem as if she couldn't hear them. Embracing that resolution, in front of Subaru who had clenched his fist, Shaula lightly exhaled and...
Dame.
Dummy?
Rotating her neck left and right, Shaula crossed her arms in front of her voluptuous chest, making an X. Though the behavior was childish, her eyes were far beyond serious. Intently staring at Subaru, who was standing at a precarious spot, Shaula's eyes were filled with heavy emotions. Those quiet, yet boundlessly deep, heavy emotions, which should not be named as an appeal, were brittle and ephemeral. With unwillingness, she once again rotated her neck right and left.
Dame. No, I don't want to talk about it. The fifth rule? Does something like that even matter? In my master's honeymoon, it has nothing to do!
As if it has nothing to do. I, along with everyone, am challenging the examinations of this tower. I can't be as optimistic as to think it will be fine even without knowing the rules of the examination. That's why. Shaula.
I'd rather not.
Shaula!
Like a disobedient child, Shaula covered her ears and averted her eyes. At that attitude of Shaula's, Subaru spoke bluntly, with a strong tone.
You must have your own duties in this tower. The tower's starkeeper. You must have been doing those all this time, right? I don't know if it's true or not, but for 400 years too! Then...
It's been 4 days.
Huh?
The spilled voice, as if a whisper, shortly halted Subaru's thoughts. The years Subaru was questioning, in that time frame, too short to even be comparable to the former. Surely that her statements had been lies, and the time Shaula had spent in the tower had always been short. Something like that wasn't possible. While retaining possession of the heavy emotions in her eyes, Shaula, with her lips shivering, continued.
It's only been 4 days since Master's come to the tower. Within those, as Master was in bed for 2 days, that makes it only 2 days since Master and I have met with each other, spoken to each other, have been side by side with each other. Even though I've waited for 400 years, it's only been 2 days!
Shaula.
For just a single moment, I thought a single glimpse would be fine.
Covering her eyes, Shaula immediately ceased to have her gaze slumped downwards. Seemingly as if she were saying she regretted to have Subaru out of her field of vision for even a single moment. No. Upon considering it, that was indeed the case. Far back as Subaru could recall, Shaula had been in the same space at the same time as Subaru, always watching him. That was not for a shallow purpose like keeping Subaru under surveillance with minimal effort, but certainly...
For 400 years, I waited for Master in the tower. I thought I would be satisfied with a single glimpse. But that was wrong. I mean, Master is my everything after all. Master's everything, and all my feelings for Master are what make me me. The 400 years it took, I can't convey them to Master. All of those in just 2 days? I can't come to terms with that.
That's why you won't tell me the fifth rule.
Acute emotions enveloped the entirety of Shaula's body and molded the existence known as her. 400 years. The weight of those words, which he had perceived merely through those words' appearance, finally became an actual time frame for Subaru, and he stood at a disposition where he could feel that in concrete fashion. After all, her attitude in speaking of those 400 years had been too casual. He thought that perhaps there existed no instrument in her to embrace feelings such as hardship, sadness. He thought that perhaps she was inhuman like the scorpion, down to her very heart, down to her very soul.
I don't want to talk about the rule. Dummy! After all, if I talk about that... If I talk about that, Master will notice the way to clear the examinations. That's why, if I talk about that, if I end up talking about that, my time with Master will end.
Poignantly, Shaula hugged her body and expressed her own true feelings to Subaru. As if vomiting blood... No. As if restraining herself from crying, that tone of her voice stabbed through Subaru's heart. It was a reply he hadn't anticipated. Just like with his initial question, Subaru had thought of some patterns regarding the answer to his question. The true motives behind Shaula hiding the rules of the Pleiades Watchtower. If she was colluding with the person who had created the rules of this nasty tower, she had certain plans as well. That was what he had thought. Otherwise, unrelated to such dark plans, the reason why she had not spoken about the rules was on a simple whim, or it slipped out of her mind. And that may not hold any significance. He had thought that as well. But in the end, neither were the truth. Shaula did have a reason as to why she did not want to speak of the tower's rules. And that reason was unrelated to the ideas of the sage or whoever that had created the tower, but rather an earnest wish. 400 years. Having lived that time in solitude, Shaula had continuously awaited her reunion with the person she was waiting for. That had come true. She had gained happiness, and that was why she wished for that time to last longer, even if just slightly. If it had been for the sake of fulfilling that modest desire.
Master, will you still hate me? The one who lied to you? Hating me? Not even wanting to see my face? Will you be like that?
For what reason was she making a face much more pained than when told something like, "Will you die?" For what reason did she view being hated by him to be more crucial than losing her life? For what reason did she think of everything like a goal, despite waiting for 400 years?
I won't hate you or anything.
Huh?
I do think that I probably had to face really hard situations because you kept quiet. And sometimes I honestly thought I'd never been cornered this badly.
Facing the silent Shaula, Subaru spoke his mind truthfully. There were no lies there. Those were his true feelings. Because Shaula hid information as per her true intentions, Subaru had been unable to finally hit upon an answer. As a result, he was made to face mercilessly cruel deaths time and time again. And not just Subaru. Aside from him, Amelia and Beatrice and the others were made to suffer cruel fates as well. However, he could not forget the despair, discontentment, and hopelessness he felt during those moments. That was why, if there was to be an existence who was the originator of all that evil, Subaru would certainly never be able to forgive him. That was what he believed. Then, at this instant, in front of Shaula like this, was he going to do the same?
No.
He did not think of Shaula, she who had lived 400 years in solitude, she who had fulfilled the meaning of her being born in mere 2 days and was satisfied such that she gained happiness, to be the originator of that evil. If there was to be an originator of that evil, it would be the unfairness of the world itself, and the one who created the circumstances where it was impossible to do anything about that. The master who had commanded Shaula for 400 years.
Ah.
Suddenly, a hoarse exhale leaked out of Shaula's lips.
Shaula?
Feeling abnormality in Shaula's condition in front of his eyes, Subaru called out her name. However, Shaula, without responding to Subaru's call, concealed her face with her palms. A painfully trembling voice, unbefitting her, could be heard coming from her throat.
No good. No good. Master. Master! Master!
Shaula? Shaula, what happened? So suddenly.
Somebody violated the rules.
Rushing over as Subaru jolted her white shoulders, her arms got grasped instead. And while grabbing onto Subaru's arms with... Rushing over as Subaru jolted her white shoulders, his arms got grasped instead. And while gripping onto Subaru's arms with her slender ones to the extent of almost bringing him pain, Shaula spoke. Gazing intently into Shaula's eyes after she had spoken so, Subaru inhaled. An odd change was occurring in the dark pupils and irises of Shaula's eyes. Within her spherical eyes, the dark pupil and iris of her eyeball split into 3, turning red and pulsating. The transfiguration occurred in the right and left eyeballs simultaneously, meaning that her dark pupils and irises had split into 6. 6 compound eyes, 3 on the left, 3 on the right.
Master, right now, I can still make it.
Make it?
Right now, if Master commands me, then I can still kill myself.
With her eyes pulsating red, white steam slowly started to arise from the entirety of Shaula's body. Her white skin was engulfed by a red tint, and even Subaru, who was standing right next to her, could feel the abnormal rise in body temperature. The principle behind it was ambiguous, just that Shaula's body was generating heat, and change was ensuing in it. Perhaps it was the initial phase of transforming it into the shape of the Titanic scorpion.
If I transform, I won't make it. I'll become a cold-blooded Satsujinki guy and kill Master. I mean, I want Master so much. I want Master so badly that I can't bear it so.
Before that happens,
Please tell me to die. If you do that for Master, I will.
Come to an end before killing you. Shaula was unable to continue her words on to say it. But in place of her words, her eyes, her shivering voice, her entire body and soul were conveying the same. An incomparable dread welled up in Subaru's body as well. That was surely the instinctive reaction of a human faced with otherworldly fear. The human known as Natsuki Subaru was frightened of the monster known as Shaula before him. That was why Subaru would...
Shaula, tell me the 5th rule.
Master, this isn't the time for...
If you tell me that!
Subaru interrupted the words of the pleading Shaula with a loud voice. At that menacing glare, Shaula's shoulders shivered. He grabbed those shivering shoulders. Warm. So much that his palm could melt. Shaula's body temperature had already risen to the temperature of a fire. However, he didn't let his hands go. Right now, he did not release her body, though it was burning and scorching.
If you tell that to me, I'll command you. Stay calm. Before you turn into a monster, I'll command you.
Hearing Subaru say that straightforwardly, Shaula widened her eyes. Then she called out to Subaru, saying, "Master!"
Master, such a womanizer.
I don't remember being one.
Then Master is a Shaulaizer, my favorite kind of Izer.
Smiling weakly, Shaula softly overlapped her hands, grasping her shoulders with her own. And
5th, it is not forbidden to destroy the examinations. Look, the color of my eyes has changed. My beloved Master.
saying that, Shaula thrust Subaru's chest away. At that greater than expected might, Subaru was thrown back, unable to keep his grip onto her shoulders. When he looked towards his front while coughing faintly, Shaula, while hugging her own body, crouched down. Red steam, like the color of blood, ascended from the entirety of her body. The steam had changed its color, a sign of danger. Shaula's eyes lost its dark pupils and irises as well, and before one could notice, turned bright red.
Master, hurry before I lose myself. Please, tell me to die. If Master says that, I will.
With the same mouth which had argued against Subaru and the others completing the examinations and leaving the tower, Shaula, using up her life, indicated the path where she could remain without killing Subaru and the others. No, Subaru. Hearing that desperate voice of Shaula's, Subaru inhaled, and then...
Shaula,
Master?
my bad. What I said just now was a lie.
Huh?
At Subaru's words, informing her of that, Shaula rounded her eyes. Watching her reaction for himself, Subaru halted his breath and at the same pace leapt backwards. Having been pushed away by Shaula had been a blessing for him amidst all this misfortune. Had Shaula kept a grip on his wrists, he would have never been able to perform this act. Subaru's body crossed over the edge of the balcony and was launched into the air. Shaula's voice, leaking immediately after, was engulfed in the vehement gusts of sand, rendered inaudible. With that, Subaru's body lost any support and fell non-stop for several hundred meters. Falling down, he possessed no plans to save himself. He had not prepared any plans to save himself. What Subaru had done was purely throw himself to death. He did not desire to do this at all, nor did he want to speak of it, but that had been his intention from the beginning. If these loops, these actions could be excused, he intended to surely do it. That was because Subaru could then trust his choice without any indecision. After all,
Master!
similarly jumping out from the balcony herself as well, Shaula chased after Subaru. Widening those eyes, desperately stretching out her hand, Shaula leapt, pursuing the falling Subaru, not in an attempt to take away, but to save that life with her own hands. True identity of that Titanic Scorpion was Shaula. Shaula had purposely hid the rules of the tower. Shaula had repeatedly killed Subaru and his comrades, and stood in the way as the fifth obstacle. And yet,
I just want to save you.
he could never forget her appearance. She, who had endured her transformation against her own feelings, who had requested to be ordered to kill herself so that she would not kill Subaru until the very end of the end. Though it was quite a nasty thing to say, he wished to confirm that. Whom he should save, whom he should not save, whom he should defeat, whom he should protect, whom he should love. Because Natsuki Subaru believed that he could not advance further until he confirmed that. No longer would he perplex over whom he should love. Shaula's form, as she stretched out her hand in an attempt to pursue Subaru, changed midair. Her hand stretched, enlarged, and transformed into large pincers clad in a jet-black shell. Her white skin was covered in a rough shell without leaving any trace behind, and her flesh expanded, as if bursting open from the interior. For a single moment, that seemingly painful transformation that was akin to her blood and flesh bursting out reached its conclusion as if a tape being reversed, converging, and finally the immense, ominous incongruity. The Titanic Scorpion had achieved completion. And its tail's tip nimbly established its aim at Subaru. Perhaps tail stingers similar to that white luster would be fired from there, and burn Subaru's life to nothing in an instant. The airborne Subaru lacked any technique to avoid it. However,
I won't let myself be killed by you, because Shaula would cry.
the tail stinger was fired, but before that arrived the terminus of his fall. The two of Subaru and the Titanic Scorpion came falling down upon the hordes of witch beasts, fiercely advancing onto the tower of sand. The result? Subaru couldn't witness it. The existence known as Natsuki Subaru did not have the ability to endure that fall of several hundred meters. Bursting open, his life was shed. However, on the verge of that happening, he said a few final words.
I, no matter what, will save you!
He managed the meager time to convey the message to the sandy gusts, incomprehensible to the Titanic Scorpion.
Kyle,
Good
you're
job,
an amazing voice actress.
Kyle.
Holy shit.
You guys are too. Thanks.
That
I love
Shawla's getting
Shaula.
emotional.
Yeah, I was on tears there. I won't lie.
Yay! I was
I was
worried
like-
I wouldn't be able to hit it.
That was amazing.
Yay! Good. I was so worried. I was like, oh shit, this is the emotional scene.
You did amazing.
Yay! So
Yeah,
did
great.
you. Great work, everybody. Yay, Shaula! So sad.
It
I
is.
love my baby. My Sheila.
It took 70 chapters, but this is where I finally started to like her.
Took 70.
a turning point.
Well, because like Subaru, I thought that she was just no thought, head empty the entire time, and was kind of like a nothing character. Until here, that she has been intentionally sabotaging them just for the sake of spending more time with them.
As
This
is
is
her
so sad.
God-given right. She deserves company. She's been alone with Reed above her. She can't even go upstairs. She can't even go see anything else.
I mean, she didn't even know Reed was there. She hasn't even gone upstairs. She was just at the bottom part of the tower this entire time.
Well, that's
Apart from
true.
that.
She didn't
Upstairs was
know.
a giant white room with a black pillar in the middle of it, and that was it.
God.
She had the green room and the spirit that doesn't talk there,
And the balcony.
and the witch beast she ate.
Yeah, the hungry horseman.
She was literally
Mhm.
alone for 400 years. Very similar to Beatrice in a lot of ways, except even worse somehow.
It all keeps coming back to 400 years. What
Always
the
does.
fuck happened?
Chat may have been onto some stuff, but Wolf and I, and maybe Greenie too, have answers to that, so we aren't going to
Yeah, I'm not going to
engage in that, unfortunately.
Greenie's
Yeah.
caught up, yeah?
I'm caught up. I'm caught up.
Yeah, so we
Uh,
can't
My lips
speak
are
to any of that.
sealed.
Our lips are sealed.
Other than someone was making the point of Satella being here, it's already been confirmed that this is where she's sealed, like
Yeah.
beneath this tower.
Yeah.
Like Subaru found basically her prison cell in an earlier
Also,
chapter.
Subaru is stuck in a loop after the taboo has been invoked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Taboo's
'Cause this
been
is all-
invoked. A rule is broken. An
The
examiner's
gluttonies
been
are-
eaten.
Here,
All
Well,
the
the rule-
gluttonies.
the rule break isn't necessarily happening before the loop, but
Mhm.
beyond that, it's really hard to
It's-
stop it. If you break the tower at all, what are you going to do to prevent anyone from doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yes,
It-
the door with 3 or 4 lights on.
7 stones and 4 lighted up.
It should have been
Greed. Sloth.
Yeah, it should be 4.
I think it was 4, but
Do we
it
know?
might have been. The reason behind the number of lights has not been explained yet.
Right,
Yeah. Exactly.
I remember now. Okay, we're good.
There are theories that people can have still, but until we get to that awesome chapter,
Yeah.
we will not speak
Till
of
we
it.
get to the
Yes.
actual answer, I will not speak.
We're now in the last phase of Arc 6. How do we all feel?
Psyched.
I honestly feel like Arc 6 is entirely built up for this final phase. And I don't say that as a criticism. I think it's fucking wonderful.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
glided through these chapters when I read them probably like 2 months ago, 3 months ago now.
Mhm.
Arc 6 might have one of my... And I know this maybe is a controversial take for some people, especially those who read it weekly when it's coming out. It has possibly one of my favourite pacings of every arc that I've read so far.
I would agree for the majority of Arc 6. I think this phase is like mostly fine. I want to double check that I'm not speaking out of my ass here for a second. Is it
Me all the time.
5, 6? Because we're in phase 4 right now, right?
Yes. Well, we're done with phase 4 as of
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Okay.
Hi.
I think like most of phase 3 and the first half of phase 4, the pacing is a little off because it goes from very slow to way too fast paced on a snap of your fingers. But like the rest of this feels like near perfect. Pretty much from like stand up onwards, it feels very similar to most of how 7 feels. Most of 7.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think it's because if I'm not mistaken, phase 3 has a lot more into the melee stuff, which was the main problem. And then after that big problem is solved, you have to now get a new problem to come in, keep this phase or this arc going.
Phase
that-
3 is also plagued by Subaru having to play catch up over and over and over again
Mm-hmm.
for stuff
Yeah.
that we as the audience are already familiar with and understand.
Which makes the audience frustrated with Subaru, which is the intended effect, but it is like a noticeable thing.
Mm-hmm. But you know, what can you do?
Mhm.
It is what it is.
I
I
mean,
mean, it's bad.
it's not bad. in my opinion, I think if you have amnesia, you're gonna have to get caught up somehow. Otherwise, it'd be unrealistic that you can do stuff that you would without those memories.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly, again, think that Arc 6 is going to really benefit from the anime adaptation.
I
Especially
agree.
for that section.
Yes.
But I think I really hope they don't do a core break with it. They gotta slide through
I would
because
be very disappointed if they did.
I feel like they might combine a bit of Arc 7.
they're already having to combine a bit of Arc 5, so I don't think they will.
Yeah,
the last
they've already got a bit beginning of Arc 5 into.
They have like maybe two episodes of Arc 5 they're gonna have to do.
Yeah, they have to. Yeah.
I think the first 2 chapters of Arc 7 could probably be added on as the end.
I hope so.
Though that is.
I hope so.
If they intend to continue ReZero past that point, that is exactly what they have to do.
Nikki, it's not that like having amnesic characters getting stuff explained to was the issue. It was like a lot of dramatic tension was built up to like the first time Subaru tried to Amnesia Baru broke the taboo. When we already fully know and understand exactly what's going to happen, it didn't need that much build up to it.
For me,
the
I
suddenness
was
works better.
Stressed with how compressed this area is, and the fact that it is only 4 days and we do genuinely only see 2 of those days is insane. This whole arc feels claustrophobic. He did a phenomenal job of getting that feeling across, because that's why I wanted to sprint.
Yeah, Arc 7 is quite the opposite. It can't stay in one place as hard as it tries.
Yeah,
it is constantly moving.
I agree with you, Mickey. I think it's only half an episode of the rest of Arc 5.
The reason I'm saying it's going to be at least 1 episode is because they have to have the Julius resolution stuff. And that is going to take up the other time that needs to be explained for why they're going on the journey.
Right. They have to have the conversation of like wrapping everything up. They have to have the conversation of like all the damage and repairs that they need to do. We're in Arc 6, so I'm going to spoil the end of Arc 5 if you went from the anime to us. Sorry. But like everything with freezing the girls, I don't think has happened yet, right? Or did they do that in the last episode? I don't think so.
Freezing the wives?
No, the citizens, not the girls.
Oh. The citizens, we haven't got
I
that
think
yet. No.
Either Amelia just came from that, or we're going to see a bit of it. But
we also have to establish a Scarf Donna.
Yeah.
Yes. And I guess Anastasia joining, Priscilla leaving.
They have to set up that the tower exists and that it's a possible solution for gluttony.
I hope we get the Priscilla side story in probably Arc 7's. Never mind. I thought it would come up in Arc 6.
It will probably be a break time.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised.
It'll be the break time of after the fight in the Priscilla side stories of her and Al and Schultz talking to each other about what they're going to do next.
Yeah, that's true. Al only gets side stories.
You're right, Mickey, those are the only things, but those conversations lasted like 3 chapters each.
Not to mention, they're going to have to spoon feed a couple things to anime onlys a little bit. And not fully, but just try to explain some of the stuff a little bit in depth.
Yeah. There's a few pieces they're going to have to cover. Also, like, the capture and what they're doing with, like, Wrath and such.
Oh, yeah, they
from
still haven't
From a
fully
directing
done that.
standpoint, too, like, especially from the perspective of ReZero cliffhangers, they always try to leave off on a cliffhanger on the episode to kind of match the page stuff with chapters. The perfect cliffhanger is saying, we need to go to this place, or...
Another 90-minute episode. That's what I want. Another 90-minute episode.
I wouldn't say no.
Yeah, I wouldn't say no to that. That'd be amazing.
That is Arc 5 done. Into Arc 6. We could get to Chapter 11 from the web novel. Easy peasy. 90 minutes?
They did a phase for episode 1 of Arc 5, or season 3, right?
They did. They ended like right at the end of the first phase. Partway through second phase, I think. Let me double check.
Checking myself as well.
Someone in chat asks, I wonder how many casual anime fans still don't know Hours from Earth. There's probably a lot that don't.
a lot.
Even-
Yes,
Yeah.
they actually, that 1 hour episode was one phase.
That's what I suspected.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Theater of Malice. Yeah.
There was definitely a lot of, if you watched it online at all, then you were told, like, hey, by the way, Al is from Earth, or go check out the episode the break time that explained Al is from Earth. But even then, I've watched a few different reactions to some of the biggest moments for several different channels. Even some of the dumber people were able to pick up, like, does he have similar powers to Subaru? Is this, like, him fighting her so weird because he's done it, like, a bunch of times? But yeah, it's unfortunate that it was cut. But now that they've established it in a break time, I wouldn't put it past them to have Subaru explain in his internal narration, like thinking, Al, you're from Earth too, right? Do you remember who
They're
Julius
probably
is?
gonna
That's
cover
what they're gonna
that-
do with the Julius stuff.
Yeah, within
Yeah.
the first episode.
I
That's
think
probably
that's-
how they're gonna hit it real fast.
Yeah. I that would be how I would do it in this scenario.
Because unlike in like the beginning of Arc 5, where Al like shows up at the pavilion, they don't have like a conversation to bring up that he's from Earth. We thought that it could be a good place to include it, but that's not in the light novels. Him considering that Al is from Earth and asking about it for Julius is in the light novel. So they will have the ability to adapt it with their production contracts.
It will at least be mentioned as if it was a known thing already. And that would be enough for people to clue in who don't already know.
And they've done that with break times, or not break, yeah, with the break time ReZero Chibi before, of like context and explanations done there, like brought back up otherwise.
95% of the time too, like the whole reason I found it out in the first place was like I was confused by some of the stuff I read in Arc 5, and I went and just quickly Googled it before the break time came out. So a lot of anime onlys do that too. A quick Google takes 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Like that's one of the
probably,
things that Ed knew before going into season 3, because he did a video covering like season 1 cut content. I
Yeah,
think.
he's the one who reminded me. I learned it in like the first time I read Arc 5, and then Ed told me in a stream. I was like, what the fuck? Of all people I'm getting this from, I did not expect it from you.
It's because he read the cut content from the light novel.
Yeah, it was while I was reading it with him
Yeah, I remember.
that he reminded me, and I was like, what the fuck?
For any other Rem fans in the audience as well, some of the other cut content is that Subaru and Rem confess their love to each other in Arc 3. That was cut from the anime.
That's bullshit. I can't wait.
In her, not in her defense. In the producer's defense, they didn't think they were getting a season 2,
Yeah.
and that would have been confusing.
It would have been a really nasty, like unresolved story beat if they never got a season 2.
Yeah,
Where's
but
the
she
man?
confesses her feelings to him and fakes her death, asking him as her last wish to tell her how he truly feels about her. And then he does, and the narration says, like, and this is Subaru's honest, earnest feelings. He truly did love her. Then she almost kissed him, but Felix interrupted.
Honestly, if she ain't toxic, she ain't it. I love her. I miss her so much. Okay. I think we've gone on for a while.
Yes.
I think we're ravenous ourselves. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. Thank you all for working so hard today. A small cast, fun times. I'll keep you posted. We will either have 3 streams this upcoming week, or we will have 2 with 1 on a different day. So we got to see who's needed for what. Connor's away next weekend. I think everyone else is here. But we have 2 Subaru narrator chapters coming up, which we're going to do Friday night at 7 p.m. EST. Same time that we run our Wednesday streams. We're also going to have our Wednesday stream, of course. And then we may or may not have a Saturday stream. We'll keep you posted. But we're going to get the Subaru chapters out of the way with Tealdi, myself, Wolf, and then whoever else is available and wants to just be there for the discussions. Because it's a huge chapter.
Get ready
I'll
for...
be there in chat, at least.
Hi!
Get ready for a lot of Subaru, and then Subaru.
And Subaru and Subaru and Subaru.
Oh, it's gonna be fun.
I think at one instant we have 3 different considerations for Subaru's existence at the same time. So,
Mhm.
get ready and enjoy. But until then, bye.